All right, what's number three?
Number three. This is number three? Okay,
Okay.
great. Number three. Number three. Number three. Sorry. Here we go.
Hello there, this is Elora, and I'm a Prequel Trilogy Kid.
And this is Dave, and I'm an original trilogy kid. And you're listening to What Does Star Wars Mean to You? The show where we talk to all kinds of fans of the franchise, from industry insiders to indie artists, from obsessive mythologists to mega collectors, all for one goal: to take the hate out of the debate by focusing on one fan at a time to find out, what does Star Wars mean to you? Plus, it's, just fun to chat Star Wars.
It is. Welcome to our episode between the episodes. This is where Dave and I deep dive on our favorite parts of the guest interviews, and we discuss whatever is interesting in the world of Star Wars to us.
Last week, we spoke to Harvey Hamer, who is the author of the Diamond Dimensions universe. He's a vlogger. He contributes to Star Wars Insider and writes for sites like Vloggerbeat. He also works in comics, screenwriting, and runs a newsletter chronicling his writing journey.
Really cool guy. Our first Prequel Trilogy Kid.
And our first Prequel Trilogy Kid. That is exciting.
It is exciting. Should we let him tell us what Star Wars meant to him?
Yes, let's do it.
It means everything. No, I mean, it does. But for me, it's a source of inspiration. It's a form of escapism, I suppose, in the best way, because it makes you... It's a fantasy that you can escape the modern world to a certain extent, but also it's so reflective, as it's always been, on what's happening currently, that it can be such a source of empathy to things happening in the world and open your mind to different ways of thinking. But also, for me, I mean, Star Wars, the inspiration for my writing, it's the whole timeline tapestry aspect just gives me a lot of joy in the way it all fits together. And now it's also a sense of community, what Star Wars means to me, which I didn't have until a couple of years ago, when I properly joined into the positive side of online communities. And all the authors that have given me their time and advice and been on my newsletter and things like that, that all means a lot to me as I navigate my own writer journey.
So for Harvey, a lot of his journey as a writer, a lot of like escapism and like just narrative is what pulled him in originally.
Yeah, I think what I found so interesting about him is like, and I think I mention this every time we talk about Harvey, is I love the fact that he has this love for historical locations and monoliths, as well as Star Wars. I find the two to be kind of interesting, similar in ways I cannot put words to. Yeah. But there's just a vibe that I think like monoliths and Star Wars like belong together.
Yeah.
What I realized was both of those things, and maybe these are the words, both of those things are world building things. Yeah. Like when you're considering historical artifacts, you're building the world from those artifacts. And when you think of the franchises like Star Wars, it's all about world building. So it makes sense that he wants to be a writer too. He's like fascinated with world building.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite like takeaways from our bigger conversation was he said something really interesting about just kind of like the expanding of the universe, that like the fiction is coming from really relatable real world elements.
Yes.
Which is essentially what you just said. That like, he said something like all new fiction can spread out again from like the elements that we understand now in like our globalized world, and then like that kind of all comes together but then like spreads out again in like new unique ways.
Yes.
I liked that a lot. It was a really succinct way of saying what I think we've circled on a lot this season specifically, which is like ourselves in Star Wars. I think Andor had a huge part of like kind of that being a big conversation. Is it's easy to see ourselves in the world of Star Wars, especially right now.
Yes, and I think you're right. Andor is that kind of perfect kind of sci-fi that says more about the world we're living in now than the world that it's talking about as a fictional place.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
What else did you enjoy about our conversation?
He's I am obsessed with the fact that he's a sequel trilogy kid.
Yeah.
And that that Clone Wars was kind of his first Star Wars. Clone Wars, the movie, was his first Star Wars. I don't know why. I just find it so interesting that people can still become kind of super fans of Star Wars in a world where we have Marvel, we have Zack Snyder's DC, we have Gunn's DC, we have video games alone. All as distractions, and still he found Star Wars, and I think that's great. I think it's great that new people are finding it.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed his take on. I do think he said as well, like in our conversation, that he really enjoyed The Force Awakens. And then was kind of, then later on the internet, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have enjoyed that. But then was kind of coming back to it and was like, no, that was my Star Wars. I loved it. And I feel like it's also cyclical.
It is also cyclical. I don't know if I've told this story here, and it's not even my story to tell, but Kevin Smith was talking about seeing Star Wars for the first time with his dad. And his dad, Kevin Smith, was like, oh, and there was this, and I love this. And his dad was like, yeah, it was good. And his dad felt like, I've seen this before with Flash Gordon. And Kevin Smith couldn't understand that because Flash Gordon was like black and white in this crappy cereal.
Yeah.
But it was his version of Star Wars at the time. It's the Star Wars you discover as a kid.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I 100% agree that it's cyclical. And we're lucky that Star Wars has survived 3 cycles. Hopefully it'll survive another one.
I hope so, too. I hope it survives more than another one.
I do too. I hope we survive another 2 or 3.
Yeah. This got really dark. Is this because we're filming after dark, like on a rainy, stormy night? We're like, wow. Can you tell that Dave and I are in our feels this evening? My goodness. So what are we doing this week? This was your idea, and I loved it.
Oh my God, this was my idea. Okay. Yeah, this week, because Harvey Hamer is such a fan of historical locations, I thought one of the questions we asked him was if it were 200 years after like Return of the Jedi and he could go to any historical location in Star Wars, where would he go? I thought, why don't we answer that for ourselves and see what locations are we big fans of? What locations do we feel like have a greater importance? And because everything comes in threes, I decided why not we'll each pick 3 locations and we'll talk about them.
I loved this idea because mine was like, let's talk about the hate The Force Awakens got. And you were like, that's been done. And I was like, that's fair. And also by us. So like, So what is the first location you want to highlight?
Okay, so I don't know. I guess I don't know when I wrote down my notes. I'm not sure like if I put them in any particular order. So I'll just go with what I put down. One thing I had a really hard time with was not picking Hoth just because I like the winter battle with AT-ATs.
I had the same problem. That's hilarious. I was like, I was thinking about it, and I was like, not to cut you off, but I was thinking about it, and I was like, Hoth is such a cool planet. But then I was like, but I wouldn't want to spend time there because I don't like to be cold. So, like, is it actually a location I want to put in my favorites? So, there's a method to the madness here.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I just didn't want to seem like an original trilogy dope because my original list was all original trilogy places.
Sure.
Like, these are the most important places. But so this is what I ended up with. We'll each do one and go back and forth.
I love it. Okay.
My first one is Dagobah. Because this is a swamp planet teeming with life. It's the opposite of everything Luke came from. So as a sequel planet, it's really kind of neat to go from desert to swamp.
Yeah.
It because it's teeming with life, it should be powerful in the Force, I think. And then it has the dark side cave, which is very wrought with the dark side. And then, of course, we get to meet Yoda. And
there's Yoda.
I think this would be, if I were in the future, if I were the ghost of Star Wars future, Although I think that's a very different ghost than being in the future and coming back to the past. Never mind.
I want the ghost of Star Wars future to tell me how the Ben Solo movie ended, but go on.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That's who the ghost of Star Wars future would be. It would be Bob Iger, and he's a dick. He'd be like, I'm the ghost of Star Wars future, and there's no Ben Solo film.
Can we just publish the manuscript? Like, I don't... Yes. This is a secret scene for sure, but yeah.
Anyway, I think it would be interesting to go back and retrace Luke's steps as a Jedi reclaiming the past in a way.
That's cool. I like that.
So and I also think Dagobah is really important within the world of Star Wars because it's where Yoda is, and it has the dark side cave.
Yeah. You know, it's so funny that you say Dagobah, I say Dagobah. It was really funny that it was really funny that you picked it because it was also on my list and I took it off because I was also like, I wouldn't want to be in a swampy environment. There's mosquitoes. Like, I think I got too literal about this, but that's okay.
I think that's really good.
My first one I picked was Felucia, which is that like jungle fungal planet that is in the Clone Wars. So also fitting for, the fact we just talked about the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It's a very lush jungle planet. It has like really large towering like fungi and like all of the plants I think are like bioluminescent. And one of my like favorite things in like the world and life is like one of those like really weird joys is when you get to see phosphorescence in the ocean and like the phytoplankton light up. Like that's so I can imagine that planet being very cool. Very Alice in Wonderland.
Yes.
I think it has like psychedelic plants I was reading because I was like, I want to read more about this planet, right? It's just a very like oversized flora, fauna, mushrooms, flowers, just surreal
bright colors,
ecosystem.
Right?
Bright colors. It's pretty. It looks like the imagination of like a 5-year-old girl, and I'm living for it. The Clone Wars, so why is it important, right? Like that was our bigger question. The Clone Wars series, I feel like, shows it as it's a contested front line in the war, right?
Yep.
And I really love the representation of like how really rich, exotic, biodiverse environments become casualties of war. And I don't know if that's really like in the importance of the greater world of Star Wars per se, but more its commentary on what war does to
environments,
people and places and things. Yes. Nature being caught in the crossfire of a technology war, I think gives this planet a lot of importance in like the greater message of Star Wars, even if it's just seen in the Clone Wars.
I think it's interesting that we both picked planets that are teeming with life as our first picks. It's too. Like the really lush planets. It's also in Battlefront 2 from 2017. I forget when Battlefront 2
I haven't played that.
And you can play on that world, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Okay, what was your number 2 in no particular order?
Okay, so my number 2 was truly my number 2. And again, this is me trying not to be an original trilogy dope, but Jakku. And for me, I love wandering around with big, hulking, rotting junks in nature. And so the idea of going to where the Battle of Jakku was and just like being Rey and picking out hydro spanners and stuff, I don't know, hyperspace drives. No, just wandering those like disintegrating halls of these massive, monstrous spaceships that are just sitting on the horizon. It would be so interesting to me. And I also think it's really important because it's where the Empire met its demise.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if there's any stories talking about like the dark side of the Force on Jakku, or if there's anything like that there. It doesn't feel like there is. It feels like that place is pretty just like this is where the Empire just finally went down.
Yeah.
Just the idea of wandering that like battlefield, that crash site, I think would be tremendously interesting.
I mean, it's almost like, yeah, I mean, I get that. It almost feels romanticized in Rey's kind of introductory montage. I mean, there's something about that that's so inviting. There's like a Goonies kind of aspect to it. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, now I want what is it? Skeleton Crew on Jakku. Like, that's their next adventure.
Yes, that should be their next adventure. I like that a lot.
Yeah, right?
My second world was Ahch-To.
Ahch-To!
Luke's exile world and the first Jedi Temple.
Another lush world.
I picked it because it reminded me of Scotland.
Yes.
Also, I mean, it's just like very oceanic, rocky islands, heavy seas. I also love the idea of ancient land meeting ancient, like, lore and history, religion. It's the location of the first Jedi Temple. It's where the Jedi Order began. I love that it's home to porgs.
Yes.
I just do. I call me a basic bitch. I love a porg.
I love a porg.
I love a porg. And then all of the, like, the relics and everything. It's just the environment feels very spiritual, isolated. It feels like a lovely place for deep reflection. I understand why Luke disappeared there. I'm a little... My one thing is, like, I don't know why no one thought to look for him there, because if it's like the famous birthplace of the Jedi Order, I don't know, unless it was a secret location.
Yeah, like only the Jedi know this. Like, he found it in a holocron, maybe. That's a good point.
Which that actually makes sense, because he's like one of the last of the Jedi, right? So like maybe no one did know to look there. That's fair. That's valid.
I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about that map that and they're like
that R2 had this whole time.
Well, they had 90% of the map.
Yes.
And they're like, we have no idea where Luke is, but there's this giant blacked out area. Why don't I ask Obi-Wan and Yoda and the younglings, like, hey, when is a star system
this chunk of space?
Yeah, it's like, why don't we sit down? I don't know. This is kind of important. Like, he's out there, like, and he's in that chunk of space because we don't know where and then R2 has this little bit of oh my God.
It's a whole thing. It's so
a whole
funny.
thing. Anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, you're not wrong. The whole thing is a little bit ridiculous. That is one of my grievances with the plot of the sequel trilogy, is that like Luke should not have been that hard to find, given the information and the intel that they had. But I think his exile represents, I don't think it does represent like his own personal guilt, but then also the Jedi Order's kind of downfall and their failures as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like renewal and reckoning that happens there, and it happens there for Rey as well. There's a lot of like training and discovery and like bridging of old and new eras and ways of thinking. It literally connects her to the Jedi Order, but she also maintains like who she is and what she stands for, and that, her story is more complex.
Yes.
She's got darkness in her. She's literally tied to somebody who fell into the dark side in her whole life force.
Yes.
And that makes her a really interesting, compelling character, but it also makes Ahch-To a very interesting and compelling place, I feel like, for both those characters. So that's why I picked it.
That's awesome. Yeah. I like Ahch-To. I think Ahch-To is a good choice. It's
Wouldn't
kind of funny.
Vacation there? I would.
Oh, 100% I would vacation there. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
All right, what's number 3?
Number 3. Okay, now this, I think, is the most important planet in all the trilogies.
Mm-hmm.
Tatooine.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder.
Yes. Tatooine. Yeah. I think if there's a dark center to the galaxy, it's Tatooine. If it's the home of Anakin, it's the home of Luke. It is where Jabba resides, which apparently is a giant aspect to the Star Wars franchise that I never knew until watching the Clone Wars and Episode 1.
Obi retires there, and that's due to Luke, but yeah.
But Obi retires there. Again, you know what? Another here you go with the why do you need a map? Like, they put Luke Skywalker on Tatooine.
I know.
And people were just like, I don't know.
Like, I would have thought that'd been the first place Anakin would have looked.
Yes. Yeah. He would have gone to Tatooine, killed a bunch of Tusken Raiders, and then been like, where's my son?
Yeah.
But anyway, I do think it is a super important aspect to the planet. It represents the longing to get off of your own boring world into a more exciting world. And it seems to be the most boring world there could possibly be. A desert where not much is going on except for at Tosche Station.
An epic sunset, though.
An epic sunset, yes.
That's the only thing it's got going for it.
and great music accompanying that sunset.
Yes.
I feel like even with Jakku was saying, hey, this is a Tatooine type world.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been interesting if they just went, no, this is Tatooine. The last battle was above Tatooine.
Yeah.
And this is like the other side of the planet where, and Tatooine's already got a scavenger society. I think I'm just trying to build a case that I didn't think through, but Tatooine.
No, I don't think that at all.
Massive planet within the world of Star Wars.
Absolutely. It's a central plot point in a lot of canon Star Wars.
Yes.
Because mine's honestly, my third one's based off of a very similar principle, which is Naboo.
Oh, yes, of course. I was like I couldn't remember your third one.
Yeah, obviously I picked it because it's idyllic and it has lakes and waterfalls, and I want to fall in love with Anakin Skywalker in the valleys, obviously, wearing a ribbon dress. Who wouldn't? But but it also produced like two major figures, right? Padme and Palpatine. Like literally, like the lightest of the light and the darkest of the dark. And I think that that's very similar to your Tatooine argument that like...
Yes, I agree.
Naboo, though, symbolizes, I think, a lot more of like the innocence and the democracy of Padme, right? That's going to be corrupted by the manipulation and smoke and mirrors of the Republic under Palpatine. So there's like a tragic irony.
Yes. That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, of course, the union of Anakin and Padme and bringing in Luke and Leia from that union is, I think, obviously canonically incredibly important.
Yeah.
So,
Naboo,
that's my third. It was my favorite as a kid, too. I mean, who wouldn't want to live in Naboo as like a 10-year-old girl? Like, oh my God.
Oh, even now, who wouldn't want to live in Naboo? I mean, like, temperate weather. It looks like they had got plenty of public transportation.
It's idyllic.
They got their planet like on lockdown.
On lockdown. Even the underworld there, like the underwater world there is,
kind of amazing.
Great. It's kind of amazing.
I find it interesting as we go through this how similar each of our choices are and how they represent like our own like original trilogy kid or prequel trilogy kid feelings.
So true.
Because we both ended on a planet we thought was like the definitive Star Wars planet or one of the most important. I would argue either one could be argued as one of the most important planets within
our respective trilogies.
Within our respective trilogies. We both started out with lush, like I think Felucia would be a better planet to visit than Dagobah. But
say it your way.
say it Dagobah. Can I say Yavin?
Yavin. I almost put down Yavin. Because
really? Yes.
I almost did because it has that jungle, but Felucia dominated over that because it was like psychedelic. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. So next week will be our season finale for 2025. We'll be back in 2026 with more episodes and more points of view on Star Wars and what does it mean to you and everybody else.
We might appear in your feeds over Christmas.
Yes.
TBD if Dave and I get our shit together,
This is very true, but we'd love to do a holiday episode. Not 100% sure what it's going to be yet. Maybe a holiday, like a Star Wars holiday rewatch and reaction, or...
We have a lot of ideas brewing.
We have a lot of ideas,
Yeah. But our finale is next week. I'm very excited.
It's just going to be us again, but we're going to pull out deleted scenes from our interviews.
Some bloopers are always my favorite part of the end of the season. I love it. This is exciting. We're going into season 4. Can you believe it?
No, I cannot. I cannot. And if you can't either, you can let us know at Star Wars Means to You. That's at Star Wars Mean, the number 2 and the letter U. And you can get that across all our socials. I wish we were on video right now because the way that you just laughed off screen, like when my transition was perfect. My radio transition was perfect. I know.
The radio transition that was like epic.
Yes, just smoothly going right into our social handles.
Just very smoothly being like, I don't know what Elora's doing, but I'm going to wrap this shit up. You're like, I got a potato and a Diet Coke waiting for
yes.
me.
Yeah. I'm going to make a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, and I got to get out of here. That should be our sign-off from now on. I've got to make a grilled ham and cheese sandwich, and I got to get out of here.
Please tune into our finale. I promise it'll be more polished than the end of this episode.
Yes. So until then, may the Force be with you.
And with you.
And it's not just, it's not just going to be a bunch of deleted moments. We're going to be there talking through them. Not through them.
Yeah.
Not over them. But we'll tee them up just like this and
I feel like we have the end here somewhere in this
somewhere.
travel.
Yes.
I think somewhere in this exchange where we are just melting down and becoming more and more delirious, there's a good end to this episode.
Yeah,
that I very much enjoyed recording.
Yes, I did too. This is very much the reason why we should not record at night.
I think so too. I feel like our Sunday mornings have been way more polished. Yeah, who are we talking to next week?
Nobody.
I just keyed that up completely backwards.
Yeah.
This is it.
I was about to say.
Kind of.
Yes. So next week will be our season finale for 2025. We'll be back in 2026 with more episodes.